Koor, we can answer this in 2 seconds, you say. But no, you can't. It's not true. It's false. Well, that's not fully true. It is kind of simple, but it's also really not. Like, we just need to start from the beginning, okay? This wasn't actually the first topic I was going to discuss today. That was going to go to video game genres, which was a question that was asked to me, or to talk about some of the stuff going on the twitter.coms. I had actually had a video already recorded about the topic of not safe for work in safe for work spaces, but I was really tired in the filming of that, because if you watch my other video, you'll see me like jumping at the start, and that was multiple takes of me doing that because I flub up my words a lot. Thus, after a while, I started to get really tired, and you could really tell that I was getting tired. So I was like, I'll record this another day because that's better to do. And that day was today. So now we're here on that day, and you may be going, Koor, you still sound a little bit tired. And the reason for that is because I got 5 hours of sleep, then woke up to go to an event for a second, and then I did all of my shopping, and then I came home and directly started to do a bunch of drawing and video editing, and now it is 2 a.m. So I'm still a little bit tired. I still wanted to record a video because I need to record videos because, you know, goals. So I didn't want to talk about video games because video games are like the medium that I love, and I could talk about that endlessly. And even with the topic of like genres, that's not something really short to record. And I could also have talked about the not safe for work and safe for work spaces, but that is a whole complicated mess of a bunch of moving parts that I need so much time to discuss that honestly, I need to separate into multiple videos, but it's gonna be a time to do that. So not today. Thus I wanted to pick a simple topic, which is the furry discourse. Apparently, because that of course is simple. There is no complexity to that. There's a lot of people who have talked about this subject. Like if you search up furry wheel of drama, you'll get Lagovert, Beta Loda, Lab Rat, and Kane the Circle. And that's not even to mention all the other YouTubers that you can mention that talk about drama in like adjacent fields or just completely outright, such as IRL Productions, Misha B Barking, or Simple Nix. There's a lot of people. I can name many furries that talk about just drama or the wheel of drama throughout the fandom. So of course, by that logic, you would say, of course, it exists. There's clearly things that make it exist, and yeah, like that's a simple answer. But no, again, it's not that simple. The furry fandom has a lot of topics that it's discussed, and sometimes those topics keep constantly happening. One of the major ones would be something like pup hoods, which just constantly happen because every time that a convention pops up, there's a person with a pup hood, and then you have this whole discussion about pup hoods that lasts for like a few days and maybe a week if like it's really spicy, and then it'll drop off, and then all of a sudden it will be forgotten. You'll be like, wow, I guess it got resolved. Like it's people stopped talking about it. We've come to a solution. We've resolved it. So now we can move on with our lives.
1 week later.
Get your pup hoods here. Buy one, get one free. Take your partner to the rave with a pup hood. Get your pup hood today. Safe for work or not safe for work. Leather or cloth. We'll have your pup hoods here in a moment. Get your pup hoods.
And thus the cycle never ends. It constantly keeps happening. It just keeps going. It just doesn't stop. And you know, that proves that there's a furry wheel of drama, because it just keeps going until you really think about what is happening. The wheel that constantly happens comes about because different furry circles, like social circles, will talk about a subject and it'll keep going around. And sometimes there's a big event like pup hoods and conventions. If there's a big convention every furry knows about, it's a topic that's going to be brought up very quickly. But at other points, you'll like be on Twitter, you'll like search up one of the other dramas, just be like, well, is anyone talking about it? And they'll be like this whole huge thing that has happened like 2 weeks ago that like you should have probably like seen because it's near your circles, but because social circles are sometimes like, you know, a little bit segregated and just like don't always interact, you'll find that people are just always talking about it. And sometimes it's within your range of hearing, and other times it's not. People like to talk about there being common issues on the wheel, but when you really look at it, it's common issues that are talked about in those social circles, which, you know, doesn't always have to overlap with every single part of the furry fandom. For certain, there are common talking points on the furry drama wheel, like a lot of people will groan when I say puphoods because everyone knows about the puphood discussion because it's just a constant thing at cons. But we wouldn't say the same thing about like the problem with diversity in the fandom. Like if I say that, there are going to be different reactions to my statement. For me, when I'm talking about that sort of thing, I mean like people in positions of power who are different from like just the norm. Because even though furries are a weird subgroup, it doesn't mean that the outside world magically fades away and there's not like the common problems that we have in like the US or other countries. But other people will start hearing that statement and will think of, you know, the degeneracy of the West and it's breaking down, and the fandom used to be different back in the day, and I miss those days. The whole drama talk is really talking about discussions and problems people are having. Talking about problems like that in a circular way, as if like that just will constantly happen and time is a flat circle and like nothing will ever change, kind of misses like all of history and also just how we communicate. Because that's the real problem. That's the actual thing that makes like that once you realize it, makes you go, yeah, the furry wheel of drama doesn't really exist. It's a good shorthand for sure, but like it doesn't actually exist. If I show you this picture, there are going to be a lot of you who probably go, wow, that's a little bit of a conservative bathing suit, don't you think? But if you look back into the past, what people see is, oh my god, they're showing the ankle, they're showing the ankles, oh my god, their skin show. What? Think of the children. How are we gonna show this to the children? Like you're gonna destroy the children's mind by showing ankle and chin. Like they can't know skin exists. Like skin cannot be seen. What if they have lustful thoughts? Oh my god. But of course, if you show a modern day kid a swimsuit like this, they're going to say, oh hey, that person is going to the pool and or beach, or they have to do something with water and don't want to get normal clothes wet. That's just a thing that happens because it is a bathing suit that is made for water. That is the purpose of it, and nothing will be thought about it. And of course this is the thought, because like everyone has grown up with this. Well, not everyone. Like if you talk to your grandparents, they probably grew up with something more conservative than this. But if you're a streamer on Twitch, you better not wear a bathing suit, because that is lustful thought. Have you think of the children? What if a person sits in a tub and they're like partially naked? Oh my god, this is gonna destroy humanity. That's gonna destroy everyone. Like it's gonna break the rules of monetization, and like it's so cheap to get money that way. One day people are gonna figure out that less clothes does not inherently mean you're gonna need to be lustful. You can in fact look at somebody who is nearly naked and not have those thoughts. It is just a bathing suit. And no one cares, no one's traumatized by it, because the idea that it is just a bathing suit is fine, even though we know that some bathing suits will cause people to do what's the word that other people use? Fecund, the eggplant and taco, the eggplant and eggplant, the eggplant and eggplant, quadra eggplant. Like, we're fine with it. We are fine knowing that you can do some not safe for work things with a bathing suit. You can like have those not safe for work moments with it if you really want to, but the majority of people are going to be fine with it because it's, you know, the majority of it is safe for work. It's fine. You don't have to worry about it. It is fine. If we're in a public space and it's out, then it's probably a safe for work thing, or it's something that's not bothering me. Who cares? It literally never destroyed humanity to do so. And like, most people don't think about it or don't even know this story. Sorry about almost flying away. The jacuzzi did not want me to tell the secrets of the past, clearly. Because if I tell the secrets of the past, then we realize that the thing that fixed the problem of history was not that the thing constantly kept happening and that people kept discussing it and it just kept happening. The way that it got dealt with over time was that people communicated. The really annoying part about the furry wheel of drama is the assumption that these problems will always be discussed because people will always have disagreements, or it's just a part of nature. For some topics, sure, there are problems that you can still resolve but are just going to be harder to deal with. People perish because we are mortal, and if you have people who want to perish others, there's not really a way to stop that unless you turn everyone mortal. But there are ways to reduce that. There are actionable ways that you can take to be like, hey, we want to make the world better by taking these steps. And we could just do that. When you're talking about the sillier topics, well, that's even easier to do because pup hoods being not safe for work is something that we can address through communication by talking about the underlying reasons why people wear them, what they're actually used for, what the purposes are, what clothing actually is, how clothing has been seen throughout history. And we can have those discussions, and then it's not drama anymore. It's just talking, trying to understand one another, which, is really the problem. It's not drama, it's miscommunication, which of course people are going to disagree with me and go, well, of course, that is the whole reason why the furry wheel exists. But I don't like that argument, specifically because, again, it treats problems as if they're unsolvable, as if it's just a cycle that will continuously happen and disagreements will happen because people just inherently will never agree and just can never do anything. And it's just not true. Problems are solved when we address people's concerns and go through educational processes to be like, hey, this is the reason why it's safe, or here are the dangers of it, but why people can still do it, and just things like that. But we don't discuss that because #content. And also, humanity's just kind of an ass. One of the ways to demonstrate that is just by people going, this is my opinion on the subject, which, it's one of those things where if you have an opinion and you're saying it, then you want something actionable to come from it, which makes it not just an opinion, but a statement. The whole point of language is to communicate ideas and have that change the world. Even if you think that it's oh, it's a silly thing I'm saying, if you could keep that to yourself, you can shut up at any point. You do not have to speak. At any point, you can just be quiet, be silent, do nothing. You can just do that. But most people don't do that because disagreements are from people wanting something to change and that not happening, and then trying to go again and go hey, I want to say something that will change it. And so you get this high level stuff happening, say Black Lives Matter versus All Lives Matter. You have those two statements and those are a disagreement, one of them being very wrong and one of them being very right. But you don't always get that from those statements because people don't go oh, well, maybe there's a nuanced discussion here, but instead just go
all lives matter. It was the most sensible thing because it says all in it, and of course America has never been discriminatory towards anyone else, so
and of course that derails the conversation because you will have people who are intelligently talking about something, having discussions, actually talking about the nuances of how to resolve issues in our life. And you have people on the other side who don't care, or apathetic, or purposely just want misinformation to go around, or just want to kind of troll people because #content, they get listened to when most times they don't. And the way that we could break that cycle is through education. The nuanced discussions that people have are the ways that people learn and grow and make it to where the topics that you think of as like drama that just constantly happens goes away. The fandom is great because it can have those nuanced discussions, and there are more people here that are willing to have those deep talks because we're just kind of weird animal people, and like half of the battle of communication is literally just trying to get people to accept a conversation. And you know, a lot of furries will accept a conversation because you are a weird animal person. Or you can just show off your paws like, whoa, whoa. That'll get a lot of people's attention because furries are a little bit basic. And that's okay. Sometimes. The furry fandom is just going to keep having discussions about pup hoods, but they're not going to have discussions about the fears of being put into a bowl and then heated up and then cooked alive. That's just not going to be a thing. It's just not a topic most people are going to talk about, even though that's a thing that has happened. The furry wheel of drama doesn't exist. What actually exists is a vat of just mixing goos all together, just like trying to compete each other to like get on the top so that it's the one that's discussed until, you know, something happens with it. Like that is the true shape of, you know, furry drama, aka human interaction, and they just also happen to really like anthropomorphic creatures. In the future, I'm going to discuss things in that vat because I, you know, personally, just, you know, as a thing that I like, I would just like these problems resolved, right? I would just like to actually have real discussions that actually just address what's going on, people's concerns, and why it's happening. And will that fix all the problems? No, absolutely not. But a lot of the reasons why the flare-ups happen in these discussions is because big people or events happen and those discussions come about. And you know what would be nice when those discussions come about, when those whole things like arise, is to have sources, is to have like actual things that discuss the problem so that people, when they start interacting with it for the first time, because like maybe their social circle never heard about pup hoods, because assuming that everyone has heard about the pup hood drama is assuming everyone is a furry. But there are new furries, and they come in, and they're like, I don't know anything, and then they hear the drama, and then they go like, I have a solution, for I just came here. And of course, then you have to get them up to speed of like where the pros are, where the cons are, what has happened, what hasn't happened, like why this is even a discussion in the first place, because, you know, having like sexual clothes is not something that is stuck within the fandom. It has been outside of the fandom. So like, there's just so much information, and you know, most people are not going to shut up. And that's fine. It is actually better when people discuss things, but it is better when people discuss things in larger bits than 280 characters. It is nicer when people have real discussions around the problems that is not for the purpose of trying to own people or get a witty response or like anything like that. It is to genuinely help people in their lives or to better your own life. And that requires an actual genuine earnest discussion and being open to the idea that like you may be right, but you may also be wrong. You know, if we wanted to make our drama vat like actually more like usable, actually make it to where it's not like a bunch of just random things competing together, but actually have a format to be like, hey, this is discussion. Well, how should we move forward with this discussion? Like setting those ground rules first can actually bring a lot more resolutions, like just come to an end, to like actually come to an end and be like, hey, we've discussed this problem, or we've made a solution to that like makes most people happy. It's not gonna make everyone happy at points. You can at points do that, but like sometimes you can't, but like you can still make accommodations, you can still be understanding, you can still do all those things so that we can move on to bigger problems that we actually need to solve. Because as much as furry drama is something that can be interesting, like I love sipping the tea. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm above the drama. I sip the tea. I fucking I chug it down because it's fun, because it's a lot more calming than like whatever the US is doing right now. But the fandom is a huge group of people that could do so much good. And instead of doing that good all the time, or like a lot of the time. We instead have to bicker about problems that like have already been discussed, and people just don't want to communicate that, or want to pretend that they have a new light to the discussion, and that they don't need to learn anything else. They just have the answer and that's it. That black and white thinking, that idea that like you just have to have that type of discussion, is what flattens a whole array of network of information and discussion and history and people into a 2D wheel. And that's just kind of sad. And again, not true. It's not. The answer, does the furry wheel of drama exist, is no. It's a vat. Let's treat it like a vat and actually express more nuances and statements of what we want changed and why and how we're going to proceed with that, than just yelling our opinion into the void. That'd be nice. I would enjoy that. You would probably also enjoy that. Like, it would be nice to just have people wear pup hoods at con spaces and no one give like a shit. Like, we don't give a shit about swimsuits. Like, it's just, that would be a nice world to live in. We could do that in 2 seconds and then like start addressing like, you know, all the US trans laws that are being like gonna ruin a bunch of people's lives, including a lot of furries that like we're supposed to care about. Also, I'm not trying to trash other furries that are talking about the furry wheel of drama or any drama. A lot of them actually do talk about it in really nice ways. Sometimes they don't. I have disagreements. That is also why I'm making videos, and that is fine. I just want more nuanced discussions so that we can actually solve problems, because that's pretty cool. Because many of the furries, such as you, are pretty cool, and it just would be nice to like have a better life and not argue about really weird things and then just kind of go, it's good, it's bad. But actually like go, hey, this is the communication we can have to solve this issue, and we can set the framework beforehand to then have that better discussion. Yeah, that's my simple video on the furry wheel of drama. Very simple, not complex. Definitely won't make other videos about all that stuff so that I can be more granular about the sources and all that, even though like these are still gonna be casual, but like casually I think about this stuff a lot, so it will be brought up again. But also, I'd also just like to talk about video games sometimes, so that's gonna be the next one when I'm not tired, and then I'll do the not safe for work, safe for workspace one and suffer. Also, I'm really hoping you guys appreciate my discussion about swimsuits and Twitch and stuff in here, because that was the whole point. Also, Germa, the best one. No one else did anything better. If you're like, oh no, a lot more people like put money towards it. No, I don't care. Germa was the best one. You should go watch it. It is great. I really like it because you'll really like it, because it is the best one. Go check out my other casual video and subscribe for future casual videos, because I am making a lot of these casually. If you'd like to ask me any questions or have disagreements that you would like me to answer, leave those in the comments below. I may make a casual video about it. I may make a proper video about it. You'll never know unless you write one. Also, I showed you my beans. Please respond with a like. Thanks. Have a peer time in the vat while you're in the discourse. I'll see you next time, everyone. This world is called the Cozy Boat, by the way. It is very cozy. It's also very moist.